Mathematics and mathematical equation has a very important role in physics. So here we are going to see some basic mathematics required for physics. All of the equations what we will see here will be useful up to 12th standard and in NEET and G also. First is quadratic equation. Ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0 type of equation is known as quadratic equation. Here x is variable, a, b, c are constants. So we can find out the value of this variable x by this equation. X is equal to minus b plus or minus under root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. Obviously here there are plus and minus, that's why there will be two values of x. Let us say the two values of x is x1 and x2, then x1 plus x2 will be equal to minus b upon a. Also, the multiplication of x1 and x2 will be equal to c upon a, where a, b, c are, as I said, these constant values. Second equation is binomial theorem. Here we need not to derive this theorem, but let us see the result of this binomial theorem. If we are having an equation like 1 plus x raised to n, then it can be solved by this infinite series, that is 1 plus nx plus n into n minus 1 by 2 into x square plus n into n minus 1 n minus 2 upon 6 into x cube plus up to. The same way if we are having equation like 1 minus x raised to n, then it can be solved by 1 minus nx plus n into n minus 1 divided by 2 into x square minus n into n minus 1 n minus 2 upon 6 into x square plus up to. But the important equation is this, especially for our purpose in physics, these equations will be more useful. In both of this equation, if x is very less than 1, then we can just consider the first two terms of the equation and can ignore rest of the terms, because the value of rest of the terms will be very less. So we can ignore them. I repeat, if x is very less than 1, this x is very less than 1, then in that case the first two terms can be considered and the rest of term will be very small, so that can be ignored. And so in such situation 1 plus x raised to n will be nearly equal to 1 plus nx. The same way 1 minus x raised to n will be nearly equal to 1 minus nx only. Now third is logarithm. A log are of two kind which we will be using in physics. That is, the first is log of the base 10. Here you can see this is 10. So that is log of base 10. This is called as log of x to the base 10. It is shortly denoted by this sign log x. And another log is of the base e. This is log of x of base e, which is shortly denoted as ln of x. So we will be dealing with basically two types of log. One is log x and another is ln x. The results of log x, that means log to the base 10x, is different than ln x, which is log to the base e of x. So we need a relation between ln x and log x, and here it is. This is the relation between log x and ln x. Ln x is 2.303 times than log x. You have to remember this.
ln of x is 2.303 times then log x. The log table which we use generally is showing the log to the base 10. So it is showing log of x. But the log which is useful in physics equation is mostly ln of x. That means it is log to the base e of x. And that's why this relation is required. Ln of x is equal to 2.303 log of x. You need to remember at least two values of log because they will be frequently used. One is log of 2, that is 0.3010, and log of 3, that is 0.4771. Now let us see some other equations also for log. Log of mn is log of m plus log of n. Log of m by n is log of m minus log of n. Mind well, these equations are also true for ln of x. Means ln of mn will be ln of m plus ln of n. The same way ln of m by n will be ln of m minus ln of n. One more equation, log of m raised to n will be equal to n into log of m. The same equation is true for ln also. That means ln of m raised to n will be equal to n ln of m. One more equation is, if ln of x is equal to y, then x will be equal to e raised to y or exp y. Here this e or exp is denoting exponential. Exponential is a function and this e is having a value 2.718. So again I can say now, if ln of x is y, then x will be equal to exponential y. You can write e raised to y or you can write exp into bracket y, but you have to call it like exponential y. This is exponential y. Now fourth is componendo and dividendo theorem. If you have been given P upon Q is equal to A upon B, then we can write P plus Q upon P minus Q is equal to A plus B upon A minus B. Here we have taken componendo and dividendo both, but you can take only componendo or only dividendo also. Means we can also write P plus Q upon Q is equal to A plus B upon B, or you can also write P upon P minus Q is equal to A upon A minus B. So here we have taken only componendo and here we have taken only dividendo. Now fifth is geometric progression, shortly known as GP. If you are having a addition like a plus ar plus ar square plus ar cube plus ar raised to 4 and so on, where the value of r is very small and r is a common factor, then sum of such type of n terms can be written as Sn is equal to a into bracket 1 minus r raised to n upon 1 minus r. It's very interesting to know that if we are having this type of n terms, then we can add all of them just by simple equation, and that is Sn is equal to a 1 minus r raised to n upon 1 minus r. But mind well, here you have to check that this r should be very less than 1. And sum of such type of infinite terms if we are having, then it can be written as S infinite is equal to a upon 1 minus r only, if we are having this type of infinite terms, then the sum can be written as S infinite is equal to A upon 1 minus R. So, this equation of geometrical progression is useful when we are having any such type of term in physics. Then we can use these equations to sum them up directly. Now, sixth is arithmetic progression, shortly named as AP. This is also one magical tool required for solving problems of physics. This is for a plus d plus a plus 2d plus a plus 3d and so on, a plus n minus 1d. The sum of these terms can be written as Sn is equal to n by 2 2a plus n minus 1 into d. The same way, if you are having a sum of like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 up to n, then the sum can be written as Sn is equal to n into n plus 1 divided by 2. If you are having a sum like 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square up to like n square, then this sum can be shortly written as Sn is equal to n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 divided by 6. If you are having a sum of this kind, let us say 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube plus 4 cube up to n cube, then that sum can be written as Sn is equal to n into n plus 1 divided by 2 whole raised to square. So, this was sum of just 1, 2, 3, this was sum of squares of 1, 2, 3 and this was sum of cubes of 1, 2, 3 and so on. Now seventh, let us see some key equations. These are the equations you might have already used, but here it is for a reminding purpose because this will be very much useful in many numericals of physics. First is a plus b whole square is a square plus 2ab plus b square. The same way a minus b whole square is a square minus 2ab plus b square. Then a square minus b square can be written as a plus b into a minus b. A square plus b square can be written as a plus b whole square minus 2ab. Then a plus b whole cube is equal to a cube plus b cube plus 3ab into bracket a plus b. The same way a minus b cube is a cube plus b cube minus 3ab into bracket a minus b. Then a cube plus b cube is a plus b into bracket a square minus ab plus b square. And the same way a cube minus b cube is equal to a minus b into bracket a square plus ab plus b square. One more equation from geometry is, if we are having this type of arc with the center O here and let us say the radius is r and the angle made is theta, then you can understand this is the arc which is having a length, let us say L. Then in such case, you know this equation, arc is equal to radius into angle. This will be very useful in numericals of physics. You can also write arc L is equal to r into theta. Mind well, here this theta, that means the angle, should be kept only in radian and not in degree. Theta should be kept only in radian.
Now we will see some examples of the equations what we have studied. The first equation was about quadratic equation. So here is one example of quadratic equation. 3x square plus 5x minus 7 is equal to 0 is quadratic equation, and we have to find out the value of x, the value of x1 plus x2, and the value of x1 into x2, because there we have seen the equations of x1 plus x2 and x1 into x2. Let us see first. Here a is 3, b you can see is 5, and at the place of c you can see it is minus 7. To solve the value of x, we know the equation minus b plus or minus under root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So using that, we'll put here minus 5 plus or minus under root of b square is 25, and minus 4ac minus 4 into a into c. So that will become plus 84. So as a whole this will become now 109, and the root of 109 will be 10.44. So finally x will be minus 5 plus or minus 10.44 divided by 6. Solving this, we will get two answers. If we take this as plus, then we will get x1 is equal to 0.9067, and if we take this as minus, then we will get x2 is equal to minus 2.5733. I already solved these equations, you can check it later on. Now x1 plus x2, if we add both of these values, we will get minus 1.6666. Now we have studied in the equations that x1 plus x2 can be directly solved by taking minus b upon a. So if I check minus b upon a, then it is minus 5 upon 3, and that comes minus 1.6666. So you can see both the values are same. Means instead of going through all of this process and then find out x1 plus x2, we can just use minus b upon a from this equation. Here this is b and this is a, so we can just put minus b upon a and can find out the value. The same is for x1 into x2. If we multiply these two values, x1 into x2, we will get minus 2.3332. But instead of that, as we have learnt in the equations, you can find out x1 into x2 just by c upon a. And here is c minus 7 and a is 3. So it is minus 7 by 3, that is minus 2.3333. You can see again we are getting the same value. So here was the example of quadratic equation, and also we have checked that these equations of x1 plus x2 and x1 into x2 are also true. Now let us see the second example for binomial theorem. Here we have been given 1 plus 1 upon 105 raised to 5, and we want to find out the value of it. Now if we go with the regular method, then obviously there is a power 5, so it will be bit difficult to solve this. But you can see here that this term is 1 upon 105, which will be obviously very less than 1. And if we are having such equation where this x is very less than 1, then as per the binomial theorem, we can consider the first two term and we can ignore all of the rest term. That's why 1 plus x raised to n can be just written as 1 plus nx. So here this is 1 plus 1 upon 105 raised to 5. So 1 upon 105 is at the place of x and 5 is at the place of n. So the answer will be 1 plus nx. That means the answer will be 1 plus 5 into 1 upon 105. That means it is 1 plus 1 upon 21, and that gives us 1.0476. Now let me tell you, if we go with the regular method to solve this, then the answer will be somewhat 1.0485. We'll get the answer from the regular method as 1.0485. And here by the binomial theorem, we are getting 1.0476, which is near to the correct answer. There is a difference, you can see at the third decimal point we are having 7, but in the correct answer it is 8. So there is a difference of 0.001 or something like that. This difference is obvious because in the binomial theorem we have considered only first two steps, first two terms, and rest of the terms are ignored. That's why there is a little difference. But one more thing, if at the place of 1 upon 105, if we would have, let us say, 1 upon 1005, then the answer what we get directly by the direct method and what we get by this equation would be even closer, because as x becomes very less than 1, the answer of 1 plus x raised to n becomes almost equal to 1 plus nx. So that's why here we are getting a little difference. But still, when we are solving any physics numerical and if we get this type of term, then it is better to go with this binomial theorem instead of going with the regular method, because by going with the regular method, when we are having a power, let us say 5 or even more than 5, then it becomes very difficult and a long process, whereas by this method, by this equation 1 plus nx, it becomes very easy to solve. So that way solving such type of terms with binomial theorem becomes very much easy. Now let us see one example from logarithm. In logarithm, we have seen that log of m into n can be written as log of m plus log of n. So let us check that. Here it is given log of 6 into 7 and we have to find out the value. So log of 6 into 7 can be written as log of 6 plus log of 7. Now we can check log of 6, that will be 0.7782, and we can check log of 7, that will be 0.8451. Adding them we will get 1.6233. So by this equation we are getting 1.6233. Now 6 into 7 is again 42. So we can directly find out the log of 42. Log of 42 is 1.6232, and that is just almost equal to the value what we have got here. That means the equation that was log of m into n is equal to log of m plus log of n is correct. The same way you can check other equations given for the logarithm. Now let us see example for componendo dividendo, rather an application of componendo dividendo. Here we have been given this equation, 7 by 3 is equal to 5 plus x by 5 minus x, and we have to find out x. Normally in such case we go for cross multiplication and then can find out the value of x, but obviously it will go for a quadratic equation, and sometimes solving that quadratic equation again becomes a long process. Instead of that, by componendo dividendo, here we can solve and can find out x very easily. Let us see. So in this equation I will take componendo in numerator and dividendo in denominator. So here this is 7, so I am taking 7 plus 3 divided by 7 minus 3. In the right side I am taking 5 plus x plus 5 minus x divided by 5 plus x minus 5 minus x. Obviously this will become 10 and this will become 4. This x will be cancelled out, so remaining is 10. Here 5 will be cancelled out, so remaining is 2x. Now from that you can solve out x, and this x will be 2. So you can see how easy it is to find out x by using componendo dividend. Now let us see example of geometric progression. Here the equation is given as x plus 0.1x plus 0.01x plus 0.001x plus up to infinite, and we have to find out the sum of this equation. Now I can write this equation as x plus x into 0.1, then x into 0.1 square, obviously 0.1 square becomes 0.01, then x into 0.1 cube, that becomes 0.001, and so on up to infinite. Mind well, we have to find out the sum up to infinite. Now you can see that this equation is similar to a plus ar square plus ar cube plus up to so on, where a is equal to x for us and r is equal to 0.1 for us. You know that in such type of equation, sum of infinite terms can be written as s infinite is equal to a upon 1 minus r. Here a is x and r is 0.1, so we will get x upon 0.9, that means it is 1.1111x. Even if you solve this equation by the regular method, then also you will get the answer as 1.1111x. So by using the equation of geometric progression, we can find out solution of such type of long equation very easily. Now let us see one example for arithmetic progression. You know, in arithmetic progression, we have seen that 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square up to type of term can be added by the equation Sn is equal to n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 divided by 6. This equation is for n terms. Now here it is given that 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square plus 5 square plus 6 square is equal to what? So obviously we are having 6 terms here. So I can write n is equal to 6 in this equation. So putting n is equal to 6, we will get 6 into 6 plus 1 into 2 into 6 plus 1 divided by 6. Obviously 6 will be cancelled out. This will be 7 and this will be 13. So we will get 91. Now if we solve the same with the regular method, means if I take square of all of them, then it will be 1 plus 4 plus 9 plus 16 plus 25 plus 36, and that will also give us 91. So we are getting the same answer from this equation. This equation will be very much useful when we are having very large number of terms. Here we are having only 6 terms, but suppose if we are having, let us say, 25 terms, then solving by this regular method is very difficult, but we can solve the answer by this equation so easily. After that, we have taken some key equations. Now from that key equations, most of them you have already solved. Still, I will take the last example of finding arc. Here is the figure, and you can see this is the center, and here is arc having length L. This is angle theta, and here is the radius r. Suppose the radius is given 15 centimeter, and let us say the angle is 6 degree, then we need to find out L, that means we need to find out arc. As I have said there, that angle should be first converted into radian. How angle can be converted into radian, that we will see in detail later on, but here let me just give you a glimpse of it. You have to just multiply the angle with pi by 180, so it will be converted into radian. So here is theta is equal to 6 degree, so 6 into pi by 180, that gives us pi by 30 radian. So here is angle pi by 30 radian. Now I can use this angle in the equation of arc. We know that arc is equal to radius into angle, that means L is equal to r into theta. Here r is 15 centimeter and theta that we have sought out is pi by 30. So it will give us pi by 2. Pi is 14. So divide by 2 will give you 1.57 centimeter. So that way the arc L is 1.57 centimeter.